Welcome everybody and thank you for joining us today for this skin fade waver cut 1.5 with the grain on the top. Make sure we like, subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram at Ace Fader, the Hungry Barber. Also stay tuned for Hungry Barber University, where we get down and dirty into some nerdy clipper technical talk, fades, whatever, all of that stuff. We get to it. Here, what you see me using right now is a cordless Andes Master with the fade blade on it. It is zero gapped, but I have it opened all the way. And I'm putting this transition level in. You've already seen me, you see the zone 1 that I've put in already. Most of you will call it a skin line or a bald line. I've also put the desired length in already, which is the 1.5 detachable blade with the grain on the top. So now I'm putting in this transition in from zone 1, the skin line, to zone 2. This is the transition area right here. So I put it in first, as you saw, open blade all the way around from one side to the other. Then when I got to the other side, I closed it down 1 notch. So the level is at notch number 2 on your cordless Andes Masters. And I came around to the other side for the second pass. So now on my third pass, we are closed, the lever is closed down halfway, which is on the third notch, I believe, and we're doing another pass to the other side of the head. We're using the fade down technique, so what's happening is I'm stopping underneath the previous level that I had that I went to with the level up higher. I'm C-stroking into that level. So as I close the notch, as each time I close the notch down, I stop underneath and I C-stroke into that next level, but I'm fading down. I'm going lower and lower on the fade till I get to that zone 1 or that bald line or skin line that you saw before. So like right here where you see I've closed it down to the 4th notch, and since this is zero gapped, my 4th notch is pretty much closed down all the way or just above it, and I was working on that bottom line. So now that line isn't as distinct anymore from where I put it in with the detachable outliner blade. So now we moved on to zone 3. So we skipped over zone 2 and we went straight to zone 3. And with zone 3, I went with a number 2 guard against the grain. So remember, our desired length on top was a 1.5 with the grain because the client wanted to keep his waves and leave them kind of dark. So now I came into the zone 3, which is, some people, I guess it's called the parietal ridge or crown. I can't remember. I've been out of barber school for a long time. We're putting the detachable number 2 in that area. All right. So that will lead into our 1.5 with the grain on the top. And I have to come in and do some rake technique and some clipper over comb and stuff like that to completely match it up the way that it should be to get them out the door. But right now, we'll get to that later. So now we have the 1.5 detachable blade. Also, I'm using the Andes Super ZRs. And if you see me with the metal guard on, I generally cut with it on speed 4 or speed 3 to keep it from getting too hot. But with this 1.5 detachable blade, I'm cutting underneath the number 2 guard. So I'm not taking it as high as I did with the number 2, and I'm C-stroking into the level where I had the number 2. So it transitions and blends in for me to have to come back and do very little rake technique or any other techniques, corner cutting, to get it to blend. That is the purpose of C-stroking, so it blends into the previous level. If you do not C-stroke and you just do a hard stop, then you leave a line because the blade is a whole nother level. It's a shorter level, and you'll leave a line there. So when you C-stroke, it's kind of like doing clipper over comb and pivoting the comb out away from the head. All right, so here now, zone 1 was the bald line. Then we did the zone 1 transition, which was the and this master's open blade, and we faded down from there. Then we skipped all the way up to zone 3, put the number 2 in, and then we came underneath the number 2 and the zone 3 and went to the zone 2 transition and used the 1.5 blade there. Now we are putting in our zone 2 with the 1A. Now the 1A, you see I have the ceramic blade on it, and when you see me have the ceramic blade on it, I'm generally running the clipper at speed number 5 because I don't have to worry about the blade heating up as fast. So I'm going through and I'm hitting that bottom line with the 1A, and I'm putting that level in, and I'm blending into the 1.5. So I'm C-stroking at the top of these strokes. You'll see me C-stroking in, and then you'll also see me going in corner cutting because I'm detailing and I'm not supposed to, but my OCD and my ADD is kicking in because I can see it with my eye, like I see where the density spots are going to be, things that I'm going to have to come back and clean up later. So I'm doing it as I'm cutting, and that is a no-no. Do not do that. It will drag out the time of your cut. Put your rough cuts in of all your blades, all your zones, and then come back and detail. All right, so now I'm cleaning up my my transition from zone 1 to zone 2. So my 1A didn't completely get that line all the way out, and I know that it wouldn't, and I have a remedy for that. So now you see me using my Osterfast feeds, and these are 0 gap, and I have it closed down all the way, and I'm using the 0 guard, and I'm working that line in between the 1A and this masters that was all the way open. I'm working that line, and I could pull out another clipper and go straight to it, but because I want this to be really smooth transition, a gradient transition, I'm adding another step in. The more steps you have in your fade, the blurrier it will be, the cleaner it will be, the smoother it will be, the more gradient it will be. But a lot of people, they want to try to get their cuts done in like 30-40 minutes and be out the door and chase the money. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's clientele for that. I try to put my best foot forward on every cut, just because I love what I do. For me, it's like a self-satisfying, self-gratifying thing, like to be able to take something that was rough and clean it all the way up and polish it. So now we've gone in. Yeah, that's decent, but it's nowhere near finished. So I come in and I have my other Osterfast feed, and this one is stretched out. The burgundy Osterfast feed was 0 gapped. This one is stretched all the way out. So when I have it all the way open, it's at a longer level than the other one when it's all the way open. So this actually will lead straight into the 1A. But I wanted to use the 0 guard on the 0 gap clipper that you saw previously, just to try to trim a little bit more off and see if I can smoke it out a little bit more. So here we got the stretched out Osterfast feed. I started with it open, started going in and hitting that bottom line to complete that transition from zone 1 to zone 2. I closed it down a little bit, and now you just see me like I'm working the level. I'm going in. If I see any dark spots, any density areas, places where I can make it smoother, more blurry, more smoky, more gradient, I'm going in and I'm attacking it, and I'm working, and you will see me work. You'll see me work the corner of the clipper. When I work the corner of the clipper, it's operating like a thinning shear. I'm going in and debulking, knocking out some of that bulk, knocking out some of that density to make the blend look a whole lot smoother. Also, you see me, the clipper, I'll use a rake technique. So when you see me in the blade, the clipper blade is not flat against the head. You see the bottom of it pulled out some. That's called a rake technique that I use, where it's more of the teeth on the head, and I'm raking up almost at like a 30-45 degree angle because it leaves the hair longer versus me having to continuously switch guards. If I just change the pitch and angle of the clipper blade, I don't have to keep switching guards. I can get the desired length that I want. That takes a lot of practice to be able to look at the density on the hair and know exactly like what pitch and angle you need to be at to be able to knock that out. I messed up on plenty of fades, and a lot of them ran on me as I was trying to perfect that technique. But hey, it's part of your 10,000 hours that you got to put in. You keep detailing until you get that thing the way that you want it to be. Do not get caught in that wormhole, because it can always be better. You can always make the blurry, the gradient, the transition, you can always make it better. So you got to get to a good stopping point and say, hey, that's good enough, and pull away. Here's the detachable outliner blade that I put the bald line in, skin line in, zone 1 that I put that in with earlier. Get this, it's going to save your trimmer blades. It's going to save your trimmer from going through that dense, coarse, thick hair. Get this, you don't have to worry about burning out your trimmers or dulling out your trimmer blades anymore. And you'll see me, I'll start detailing that bottom line with this outliner blade, just going in and picking at it. And you can literally spend 30 minutes picking at a fade trying to get it to be perfect. But as I see stuff, I try to attack it. So now I want to get back up into like that transition level from zone 2 to zone 3, where I was using a 1.5 detachable blade. I grab my stretched out clipper and I put the 0 guard on it, and I go in and start trying to work and see if I can make it more blurry, if I can blend it a little bit more. Can we get some of this bulkiness out of here, some of this density? Can we get it out? And it's in that area where the waves are coming down at an angle. So here I'm using the Babyless skeleton trimmers with the Graphite 2.0 blade. Of all the trimmers, this one has, of all the cordless trimmers, this has the best power to torque ratio. Like these clippers have a lot of power and they have good torque, so I can cut through thick and dense hair. The first blades they put out, they didn't cut like this one. When they came back with this 2.0 blade, they have the 2.0 gold blades and they have these 2.0 graphite blades. Those blades are great. I love them. I have the cordless Andis T outliners. I also have the cordless detailers, and they all serve their purpose in a cut for me. So I can't necessarily say that I prefer one over the other every single time. They all have their purpose depending on the cut, depending on the texture of hair, and depending on the job. Having a modified clipper, modified blade is key. That's going to help you push through some of these and save you a lot of time. And to have it modified correctly without cutting the client is an absolute must. So I can use these. I modified these blades, and I did not use the tool that comes with the trimmer because that tool adjusted it too close for me. So I had to modify them the way that I do them. And I can use these trimmer blades on adults and children. So you see, we're starting to finish up. Put the line in. We come in with the razor. I love this razor handle because I don't have to worry about the other part that flips over. It's just a straight handle, and I can pinch the spine of it and drop the blade in, so that saves me time as well. So as I was looking around, I saw that I can make this cleaner. It's not as clean as it needs to be, so I grabbed my 0 gap Oster fast feed, and I start going to work. So the cutting blade that I have on this fast feed is the medium cutter. So it has like 25 cutting teeth on it compared to the coarse cutter. The coarse cutter has about 17 or 18 teeth on it, so I can really get in detail with this blade. And I love the pivot motor. The pivot motor just leaves a different type of finish on the cut. These are one of my favorite clippers to cut with. I've had these clippers since 2006. My other ones messed up, and my mentee, Triple Vision Trey Day Barber, he came up, man, and he blessed me with another pair because he heard me talking about how much I love the man, and he blessed me with another pair. So shout out to him. Go over, check out his page, follow him on IG. That's my guy, man. He's a great student of the game, man, and he loves it, and he listens and he executes well. So be on the lookout for him. Again, there you see me with the rake technique, and not only am I using the rake technique, I was also using the corner of the blade, and I'm just going in and detailing. I'm debulking, all of that, so we got it to a good stopping point. It's not perfect, but it was a good stopping point. And then we come in with the deep pore cleanser. That is a mix of about 5 different essential oils, and then we go in and we clean them up.